Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. I got another Master Duel video for you. It's time for this week's iteration of This Week in Master Duel, where we cover all of the latest happenings. And I think it's going to be pretty obvious what the latest happenings this week in Master Duel are going to be. But we actually have quite a few things to talk about, not only here in client, but we're going to take a look over, as always as ever, at Master Duel meta once we are done looking at the notifications here in client, because there have been a couple of tournaments since the release of Kashtira's, and we're definitely eager to take a look at some of those tournament results and see just how well the deck has been doing. Not only are we going to look at tournament results, but I want to take a peek at the Kashira breakdown on Master Duel meta so that we can see some ladder lists as well and see, at least initially, how people are choosing to play this new deck. But like I said, we're going to start with notifications here in game, of which we do have a couple to talk about. All right, let's pop on up here and let's see. Of course, there's been quite a few updates in the last few days. We did have the newest ban list come out. That was part of last week's, what we went over there. But, in addition to some minor, wallpaper, I guess, rewardings. I always thought that was a weird one. I got a couple of cards added to some of the secret packs. Scareclaws got their new cards added. So did the Insectors, got the Insect Strike, or the Zect Strike, I think it's called. Yeah, Ko'o added to their pack. The Numbers Recall pack had a lot of the removed cards, or the banned cards. Not a lot of, I guess just one of them, 89 Diablosis. But got a few new accessories. I'm super digging this Archfiend Field. It's very fitting for Kashira, but I've been using it for other decks too. I love it. And then the sleeve if you're interested, the fire frame if you're interested, all this fun stuff. But of course, the big one, and there's also the secret pack, right, that Despias and Dark Lords now have their own secret pack. So this does actually make Branded at least somewhat a little bit more easy to build, I guess, now that you can pull the Karatas and Masquerade and other Despia cards from their own pack. Although, at this rate, it's kind of looking like Branded is about to be the new hero, right? Where once all of the cards from the deck get in secret packs, they're going to be spread across like 3 or 4, and they're going to take a stupid amount of UR, craft points, and or gems in order to make. But of course, the big pack announcement was, not this one, the Flame of Fury pack, which brought not only the second wave of Kashira support, but also some much-needed Gishi support, the Rescue Ace archetype, and the ever-relevant Triple Tactics Thrust. No, unfortunately, the Prediction Princess, cool as that archetype may be, is not particularly relevant, but the Triple Tactics Thrust is a huge addition to Master Duel. I definitely expect to see this card a lot in general on ladder, but especially in tournaments. It's very much it's a staple card, but not to the level that like Maxi, Ash Blossom, and Called by are. You won't see this in every single deck, but it'll be kind of like Triple Tactics Talents in how frequently it's played. But it's mostly used to surge up some powerful spell or trap cards. Spells often in the form of board breakers, including Triple Tactics Talents, but you could also search up like a Lightning Storm, potentially, or Raigeki. If you have a Power normal trap, you can potentially search that as well. Definitely expect to see this card a lot moving forward. So obviously this has definitely been shaking up ladder, the release of this latest selection pack. This is a really good one to buy into if you're looking for just meta decks in general, because not only is Kashira really good now, but Rescue Ace is like decent-ish right now, but once it gets its 2 other support cards, Preventer and Emergency, then the deck becomes a lot more consistent and it becomes a lot better in turn. And then if you already have the Sprite package, it definitely does not hurt to get the Gishi cards as well. So, and then like I said, Thrust definitely going to be a very important card moving forward. So if you're a generally competitive player or just like keeping up with the meta in general, I would highly advise dumping as many gems as you can into this pack if you are interested in playing Kashira and or Rescue Ace, with possibly a bit of Gishi on the side there. So there's of course a gem sale that coincides with the pack release, but here's another pretty big announcement that some of you might not have seen just yet. That is a change to the Duelist Cup rules. So I'm just going to go ahead and read this part out. The Duelist Cup event will take place during the dates listed below. The 2024 season begins. From this season, the World Championship Finals invitation will also be awarded in the following ways. World Championship Qualifier top-ranking players. The top-ranked players in each area in the World Championship Qualifier area ranking for 2024 season will be awarded as awarded the finals invitation as team leaders. So it sounds like that'll be a separate event. Top ranking in second stage of the Duelist Cup in each Duelist Cup of the 2024 season, to be held 3 times total, including October 2023. The top ranking players of the second stage will be granted a World Championship Finals invitation as team leaders. So that's one way to qualify, right? Is that at the end of every single Duelist Cup, the top ranking players will get World's invitation spots. So that's pretty cool. Last time it was just the one Duelist Cup to decide it, but now all 3 Duelist Cups, including this one coming up here next week, is going to be important to deciding who makes it into Worlds. So actually gives incentive to try during the Duelist Cup, because that was the thing in past Duelist Cups, right? I found that once you got to max level, there was literally not even a point at all into playing in the second stage. I never would, because, you know, I already got all the gem rewards, so it's like, I don't care, I'm good. But now there is actual incentive, which is cool. There's also another way to qualify, which is season points. Season points, high-ranking duelist. Season points will be awarded to the top-ranking players in the second stage of each Duelist Cup and World Championship qualifiers. Season points will be combined through the Duelist Cups for the 2024 season, to be held 3 times total, including one in October 2023, and World Championship qualifiers. Season points are awarded to individuals, but rankings will be based on the total members of the total points of the 3 team members. Once the World Championship qualifiers end, the top-ranked team on the points ranking will receive World Championship Finals invitations. So, here's another way to qualify as well, right? As well as the top-ranking players of each individual Duelist Cup making it, each individual Duelist Cup, it sounds like, will also give you points. And if you and 2 other people have the highest combined point total of everyone else, then you 3 will also get a spot in as a team as well. But that one does sound like does use the combined point total based on this wording, right? Season points are awarded to individuals, but rankings will be based on the total points of 3 team members. So not only do you really have to grind out the points, but 2 other people really have to have ground out the points too. And then again, 3 of you combine them all, and then you qualify as a team. So that is really cool and interesting. It's nice that, again, the Duelist Cups actually do feel like they have more of a purpose other than just being like a slightly different kind of event, right? Now, it does actually matter to try in the second stage of each individual Duelist Cup. And this also means that you will be able to qualify for Worlds. You have multiple chances to do it. Again, including this coming up Duelist Cup here on October 16th, I think. Maybe there's a notification for that here as well. I thought I saw that announcement somewhere. Then the next Duelist Cup begins on like the 16th or something. Let me see here. Oh, hang on, not standard. Oh no, they don't have the event duel thing up yet. So I guess we'll wait and see. I didn't see a thing for it here in notifications. It just said October 2023. But we'll definitely keep our eye out for that. So again, very, very cool that you can now qualify for Worlds multiple times over instead of just one Duelist Cup being the only place in which you can qualify. So that's everything I want to talk about as far as notifications go, which is a lot more than we usually talk about for in-client notifications. So let me pop on over here to... Here we go, Master Duel Meta. Before we take a look at tournament results, I wanted to first look at the overall Kashira deck breakdown. This includes not only decks that have done well in tournaments, as you can see, but also ones that have gotten Master 1 or Master 5 on ladder there. So we're seeing, of course, you know, the most commonly played cards are all the Kashira cards you would expect, Maxi and Ash Blossom, of course, Theosis. Interesting that Triple Tech is actually played in a higher capacity than Theosis is. That's actually very surprising. But, yeah, we have Imperms as well. A lot of stuff you would expect to see, but where it kind of falls off here is in the latter half of the deck. After, you know, Scareclaw Kashira. This is all stuff that's like staples and or direct Kashira support, but you can see that a lot of people are definitely taking different avenues as far as how to fill out the rest of the main deck, and there is a lot of main deck to fill out. Enough so that we do have to consider how we're going to keep the consistency of the deck up. A lot of people are turning to the Planet Pathfinder, which is not a bad option because you don't inherently use your normal summons combo, and this can grab the field spell, the Rate Soth, right? Which can in turn grab you your unicorn, and that'll get you plays. Other people are turning to Desires. That's what I've actually been using, Desires, in order to not only boost the consistency and try to draw more combo pieces, but also gain some more advantage. I'm not sure which one I think is better. There are also other people who are filling out those extra slots with more disruption and possibly the triple tactics thrust in order to find them. It's interesting, right? Like, the thing about Kashtira is that in Master Duel right now, it's actually a very unsolved deck. And I say right now because we are still only at the point of the time that I'm recording this, and this is going out just a few days out from the release. But I think, and this is something I was saying, you know, even leading up to the release, that a lot of people really underestimate how much more bricky this deck becomes when not only the field spell is at 1, but also Prosperity is at 1, and Terraforming is banned. That's a lot fewer opportunities to get to your unicorn, right? And also to attach a lot of materials to your Rise Heart via the Prosperity. Stuff like the Goliath and, you know, Garura, the Fossil Fusion, so on and so forth. So, yeah, I don't know. I have this idea that maybe, and I'm not committing to this, but I wonder if Cash really is even the top deck of the format in Master Duel. Like, Pearly is just so much more consistent that I feel like even if Kashtira does end up making more powerful plays than Pearly does, I feel like Pearly might just actually end up still being the best deck of the meta. Now, I'm not saying Kashtira is not tier 1. I'm just saying that Kashtira might be slightly less powerful than Pearly, making Pearly the actual best deck of the meta. That's a theory I have. We'll see how Kashtira continues to do in the coming weeks, if a like kind of more solved build ends up emerging, or if it really is just going to remain not only inherently inconsistent in how it draws, but also how it's built, right? Is there going to be a, you know, conclusive decision that, oh yeah, we should be playing Planet Pathfinder, or oh, we should be playing Desires, or are we going to look 2, maybe even 4 weeks from now and still see the breakdown looks like this? I don't know. It's interesting. Like, I think Kashtira is actually in a more interesting spot than people realize. And I know people are going to say, like, Kashtira isn't interesting, they just do one thing. And again, I'm talking about from a deck building perspective, where the deck is just super unsolved. And for those who might not know what that means, right, solved is just a, you know, kind of TCG terminology for deck building where, you know, like Sword Soul, for example, that's a relatively solved deck. Sword Soul main decks usually aren't that different. They have, like, usually generally about the same 32 to 35 cards, and then a few room for tech slots. But Kashtira is not like that at all. Kashtira's got, like, almost half the deck just wide open for any amount of tech slots or consistency boosting engines that you could think to add. The extra deck is also super wide open. And because of that, it just ends up being a less solved deck. Which, again, does not mean it is a worse deck. It just means that there's not really as much of a conclusive decision on how this deck should be played and built. Again, at least at this time. So we'll see how that ends up playing out. I don't know. But we do have a couple of tournament lists that I want to take a look at here as well. Of course, coinciding with every single major release, there is the... Oops. Hang on. There we go. There is the Decade Meta Weekly. So this one had 128 participants, which I think is a full bracket, actually. And, yeah, it looks like it's a single elimination, one deck best of 3. Of course, that's what they always tend to be. And as you can see here, Kashira did end up taking the majority of the pie chart here. But that's not always indicative of a deck's power level. Lest we forget that last week, the highest represented deck on the pie chart was Rika Sun Avalon, and that was because more people brought Rika Sun Avalon than normal, because during that very same day, they had just won another European tournament. So, always got to keep in mind that just because we see pie charts that look like this from tournament results, even big ones, that's not necessarily saying that, oh, Kashtira is just by far the most powerful deck of the meta. It's going to be representative of over 50% of the slots all the time, every time. No, you got to remember, this was, again, the very same day these cards came out. So, of course, a lot of people are going to naturally end up gravitating towards them. First place was actually taken by a Branded Despia deck, and this is yet another thing that I have continued to say as we look at these tournament results, and that's that you might have a pie chart that indicates like, oh my god, there was 9 Kashira decks and only, you know, one branded Despia deck, but it was the one branded Despia deck that actually ended up winning. And I've said it before, I'll continue to say it. I think that if it's between a new, very powerful meta deck that you have less experience with, or a slightly less powerful, but still meta contender that you are very, very familiar with, you should play the one you're more familiar with because you're more likely to do better. That's seen from, again, here, the one branded Despia player managing to come out on top. I imagine this is probably somebody who knows the deck very well and has been very consistently playing it, at least for a while now, since like the Cartesia release. Again, I don't know this person, April, but I imagine that's probably the case, because you'll see Pendulums winning tournaments a lot, you'll see Thunder Dragons doing very well in tournaments a lot, not because these decks are necessarily more powerful, but because the people who play them are vastly more skilled pilots because they're dedicated to the build. So looks like Kashira did end up coming in second, to probably no one's surprise, because again, 9 of them were in the top 16. This looks like, I don't know if this is necessarily a dedicated going second build, but looks like we are playing Thrust for a few going second cards like Duster and Dark Ruler no more. I've kind of considered doing this in tournaments as well. Interesting that we're playing Cosmic Cyclone as well. I wonder if that's for like going first, maybe using against opposing field spells, possibly, in addition to stuff like My Friend Pearly and also Labyrinth in general, but I could definitely see Back Row Hate kind of making a little bit of a comeback here in this particular meta because, you know, again, we have Labyrinth that is a pretty well represented and very powerful back row based deck, but also a lot of the more popular meta decks like Kashira and Pearly set up a lot of back rows in their own right, so. Let's see, here's another cash list in top 4. This one's like pretty standard. I don't see the majority of people, or not even necessarily the majority of people, but I don't even see a significant amount of people, again, if we look at the breakdown here, on Forbidden Lance, which really, really surprises me. I expected to see almost every Kashira deck on 2 or even 3 Lance, which I don't really know why that's not happening in Master Duel right now, because it seems like a lot of these cards, like Book of Moon, the card right next to it here, a lot of the techs that people are outing for Kashira are spell and trap cards, right? The Book of Moons, you've got your, you know, your Triple Tactics talent, your Imperms, Evenlies possibly. Like, it just seems to me like the Forbidden Lance is, and there's even the Mirror Magic opposing Rate Sots. It just seems to me that Forbidden Lance is a pretty crucial tech card that, again, if you look at the breakdown, it's not even like represented in even 30% of Kashira lists, which is honestly a little surprising to me. Ooh, we got Sprite in the top 4. Love to see it. This is actually a dedicated going second to Sprite list. It's playing Kaijus, 2 Change of Heart, the Feather Duster, Book of Eclipses, to book down Kashtira boards. So it's cool. I really like seeing going second to variants of existing meta decks. I've considered playing going second to Sword Soul before. Going second to Kashtira is actually a thing too. So yeah, going second to Sprite. Very cool. Got double Mosquito because we can Mosquito OTK a lot of the time. That also makes the Kaijus very good here. So overall, I think this is a really, really cool list. And as always, you know, Sprite lists just tend to pique my interest. I might end up trying this out myself at some point. Dragon Link making an appearance here in the top 8. Contrary to popular belief, gasp, the existence of a Rise Heart doesn't completely invalidate graveyard decks. This is something that a lot of people have asked me, actually, on like the Discord and the YouTube comments, and they'll be like, hey, I keep hearing with the Rise Heart coming out that I can't play graveyard decks anymore. Is that true? No, absolutely untrue. I'll say this, if you sincerely think, and I've actually said this on, I think, Twitter and or Twitch as well, too, but if you sincerely think that the existence of a Rise Heart completely invalidates graveyard-based decks like Dragon Link, and that they're not going to be good at all, and that they're actually unplayable, you need to get off the internet and form your own opinion about the game, because that is definitely an over-exaggerated point that just gets repeated and parroted online, like a lot of points tend to about Yu-Gi-Oh! Online. There's a lot of over-exaggerating and then parroting of the over-exaggeration until people believe it, and then they have this warped idea of what the meta is like when it's in fact not what they perceive it to be. So don't fall into that mental trap. Definitely keep an objective head about the game, and just look at, you know, objective tournament results or like ladder results, you know. Master Duel meta, great tool for that in that regard. So Ooh, here's Cash Punk. This is cool. Looks like we are playing one of the kaijus here, teching Drolls. I really actually like the idea of playing Droll in this meta. Not only is it already good against stuff like Pearly in the past, but Kashira, again, is using a lot of these consistency boosting cards like Planet Pathfinder and Desires, which in turn makes them a lot more susceptible to Droll and Knockbird. So definitely not a bad card to play. We got Lab here in the top 8. Saucy Senpai, always see them in the top 8 of these, but where's the synchros? Where's the synchros, Saucy Senpai? No. Still very cool that you topped with Sprite Twin in the new meta here, but I do miss your synchro builds if you are watching. Yep, here's another cash list. Looks like they're teching the Planet Pathfinder here. Another I mean, it seems like Planet Pathfinder is kind of like the go-to for a lot of people here. Ooh, here's another Scareclaw Adventurelist. These have been showing up pretty frequently in the tournament results. But yeah, I mean, it kind of seems like Planet Pathfinder is the way to go, which, like, again, it does help boost consistency, but also at the same time, like, Planet Pathfinder especially makes you so weak to draw Knockbird, because, like, you don't even get to search off the field spell at that point, let alone the Unicorn, you know? More Planet Pathfinder Kashira, more Planet Pathfinder Kashira, more Planet Pathfinder Kashira. The one Pearly in the top 16, but again, I think this is more of an indication of, you know, players who, a lot of people who were playing Pearly, I'm not saying everybody, but a lot of people who were playing it because it was one of, if not the best meta decks, and are now jumping over to Kashira because they believe the same of that. But I don't know. Again, it's interesting to see these Book of Moons, because I thought Book of Moon wouldn't be that great, because I thought a lot more Kashira decks would be teching the Lance, but if they're not, then maybe the Book of Moon is actually good. But we'll see. We'll see. There is also a much smaller tournament here. This Garito 92 mini tournament was only 20 players, but it was the other tournament results that we've seen since the Kashtira release. So I don't normally include tournaments quite this small, but I figured I would go ahead and showcase some of the lists here. Looks like Pearly ended up coming out on top, running 3 of each book, definitely teching very heavily against Cash and the mirror match in that regard. This is another reason I wanted to kind of show off this particular tournament list, is that we actually had Tier Limit coming out in 2nd place, which again, while this is a smaller tournament, it's still definitely very impressive for Tier Limit to have done so well, especially when I have to imagine there were a number of Kashira lists in this tournament. But yeah, cool to see the deck still managing to get some success. Flounder Rees taking the 3rd spot here, and then we have a cash list here in 4th. This one not on Planet Pathfinder. Looks like they didn't really opt for too much more. Well, they have the Rhoda, I guess, so they have that going on, and they have a Thrust package. Okay, that's what they filled it out with, but there you go. There is the tournament results, as well as, again, I'll show off one last time the current Kashira breakdown on Master Duel meta. A lot happening in this week. A lot happening indeed, with the Duelist Cup announcements as well. And with the Duelist Cup kicking off next week, there will definitely be a lot of sweating happening there. But let's go ahead and move now to our outro. Alright everybody, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you for watching it all the way to the very end. That means a whole lot to me, and it's also a fantastic way to support the channel. And if you're interested in supporting the channel in other ways besides YouTube, there are plenty of ways to do that. If you check out the description below, you'll find a bunch of links down there. One of them goes to my Patreon. You're actually seeing the names of everyone subscribed to the Patreon on the screen right now. So if you're interested in getting your name in the credits here at the end, if you want to see more daily Master Duel content, or if you're interested in one-on-one private coaching sessions, I offer all of that on Patreon. I also stream live on Twitch. Feel free to go ahead and click that link and follow and or subscribe there. I also have the Discord community, if you want to follow that link, where hundreds of duelists have already signed up. Free to join, and you can just come hang out, talk about the game, and chill in general. Final link that's going to be in the description is my Twitter. You can follow that if you want some more notifications of what's happening with the channel. So, all in all, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic day.